All right, guys, let's get going. 12-team Superflex PPR 1.75 tight end premium start 10. Are you going Travis Etienne and Jacoby Myers or AJ Brown? Scott, let's start with you, man.
Man, this one threw me for a loop when I first saw it 5 seconds ago when you just put it up there. Man, so in a start 10, Jacoby Myers is playable, startable. And I'm getting Travis Etienne, which I think this one for me is going to come down to my construction. Maybe I'm being a little bit lazy. I'm okay taking the Etienne and Myers side if it's a roster where I go, I could use the one running back. And that's going to be probably few and far between. If it's a team where I already have a running back, if I already have even Tony Pollard or Josh Jacobs, I'm just not interested in putting this much value in somebody like Etienne. Myers is startable, but he's probably more of just an early second, mid-second type value player that's thrown in, but not a player you could probably just buy for that price. On the contrary, though, if I had AJ Brown already, can I just buy Jacoby Myers if my running back room is right? If it is, I'd rather just do that versus have to give up Brown for the running back asset. So that's how I'd play it. If I had no running backs, and I have some teams like this where I'm like, man, Jacoby Myers is my wide receiver 6 in a start 10. I've probably not started him a lot, right?
Right.
So can I replace one of my receivers with a running back because I don't have any others? If not, I'll just take the Brown side.
What do you think, Shane? Your boy, AJ Brown. Can you do this? Can you trade him away for this?
Hold on, I'm looking.
Hammer. Nice.
AJ Brown. So before we went on tonight, it's funny. Someone asked me, like, do you have a list of hammers? And I was like, I probably should. And I've actually been thinking we need to just do a show on, like, who's an actual hammer? Mm-hmm. What are we talking about? And I initially left AJ Brown off my initial hammer list. And then I remembered, oh, wait, that dude just put up 4 straight games of 125 receiving yards. In like 22 career games with the Eagles, he has over 1,300. He has like 2,200 receiving yards or something ridiculous. Like, the dude's just a monster. He's a hammer. So yeah, give me him. I like Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Myers is a very good player. Travis Etienne has been smashing this year, but I'll go with AJ Brown here.
Yeah, I'll admit with AJ Brown early on, you know how he was getting banged up? He was always getting a little bit hurt. He was one of those players who was like, I'm not going to touch. I just feel like he's going to be an injury annoyance moving forward. And then it was too late to buy him. He became too expensive. So definite bad on me there. Okay, let's do this right here. So where was it? Okay, it was this inbox offer from Nick super early this morning, 9 a.m. 12-team start 10 superflex stanking team. My Bijan and Debo for Devontae Smith, Roshan, and a projected late 24 and 25 firsts. Have Tua, Kyler, Geno, Bijan, Connor, any 53, CD, Debo, Diojon, Kittle. Fair value? What do you think, Scott?
12 teams start 10, so he's moving probably one of the few, and I don't even want to say hammer running backs from a production standpoint, but also just a value standpoint. If you have Bijan, you should be able to move around the board anywhere you want at running back. So that's a big influence in whether I'm going to move him in a deal. If I'm getting enough back in the package to where I can now go to the market when I need something, I can get it. Debo for Devontae Smith. I mean, you're going to prefer Devontae Smith there, but Devontae Smith hasn't really been producing a ton this year either. So if you look at your roster construction, if you said I have to downgrade at one spot in the trade, I'm guessing the person that's going from Devontae to Debo probably isn't looking at this like, man, that's a huge loss. They're probably going to turn around and just try to flip, Debo Samuel if they want to get a better receiver or whatever. So, you know what?
And Debo's tough to flip, so
Debo's tough to flip. So what's going to happen is the person that is getting Debo here is like, all right, I'm willing to sacrifice one of the young insulated pieces I have in Devontae Smith, but I'm still getting a receiver that I can probably throw into the same spot. So it's just like trading for one of the veterans where you're like, I'm just going to eat the production. Whatever happens, happens, because you're not pivoting back off of Debo for somebody else probably. So it comes down for me. Let's just call it a 25 first, 24 first, and Roshan for Bijan. Is this the best I'm going to do? Like, you have to go through that analysis. If your league is, this is the best offer I'll ever get for Bijan, I'm okay taking it. If your league is going to go, we don't like picks, we don't want picks, good luck with those picks. You can make all of those picks. You can draft next year's Quentin Johnston with those picks. Then I'd rather just move Bijan in a different way. So long wording to say this is not exactly what I'd look for. But Nick, you have to do a real honest analysis. Is this the best package that I'm ever going to get? If so, now you have 2 firsts and Devontae Smith to play around with and a Roshan Johnson that you hope is someone you can flip the rest of this year because he's a running back.
Yeah, I think the important part was talking about how picks are valued in that league, because if they are pretty valued, then as a stank job, he says he's stanking. That's a pretty good stank, getting Devontae Smith and 2 firsts. So what do you think, Shane?
Yeah, as someone that's been trying to shop Bijan, like his absolute life depended on it. Like if I don't do it, I am just my head's gonna explode. Like it's speed, and I can't keep the bus under 60. I don't remember what the plot was.
It's like
I probably would take this. You're not getting 2 firsts for Bijan. And yeah, I'll say that Devonta and Devo are probably a wash in value. Real quick on Devonta, though, not to spoil the baby or anything, but it's also not a saying, not to spoil the milk. But in tomorrow's Follow the Volume on destinationdevy.com, I did talk about Devonta, and my dude had 1,000 air yards last week. Not particularly 1,000, but it was a lot. He had a ton of targets, just some uncharacteristic drops. Anyway, yeah, I'm fine with taking Devonta in the pick side on this. Again, I know Bijan in theory, Bijan should be worth more than this, right? Like for how he's producing, his age, considering everything that went into him. Try to trade Bijan, because I do it every day. It's like I wake up and it's time to make the donuts. It's like wake up and try to sell Bijan again today. Never get it done.
I was going to add in the chat, Jackie Moon posted in there. Hopefully he comes with
he crushed it last
some
stream.
some fun nicknames for the chat this week as well. But he mentions the trying to get Justin Jefferson for Bijan, even if you have to add a little bit of plus. I mean, for a rebuilding team, if you can move anything you have and secure Justin Jefferson in a start 10, I'm okay waiting till next year to get him back and knowing you have a hammer that you really can't replicate. And you're doing it at the right position where you're moving a running back for a receiver. I know Shane was trying to do that. I mean, let's just say hypothetically you've already tried. And the person with Justin Jefferson is like, I'm willing just to eat Justin Jefferson. I'll replace his production with, the Adam Thielens, the Josh Palmers. I'll do it cheaply. I'm not trading him I'm not breaking him up, or I'm not trading him for anybody else. What are you willing to add to Bijan if you're one of these teams that has Bijan that really shouldn't have been drafting him because you're just wasting him on a 1-in-5 roster?
Right.
What are you willing to add? If you have like 4 firsts, are you willing to add like one of your mid to late firsts next year to get Jefferson from Bijan? You wouldn't add like a playoff first to Bijan to get Jefferson?
No, you're going to have to pay for the points that you're getting bailed out for. There's a little tax on top of that. My player can play currently.
Okay. And what if they just say, okay, good luck with that running back? You don't come back and say, would you add a second?
Yeah, I'll add a second.
Would add a second. Yeah. Okay. I just sent an offer. I doubt it gets accepted. This guy's pretty sharp, but I give Bijan in a 26 second and receive Jefferson in a 26 first. So that's kind of my value.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. It's not
going to
happen, but we'll see what happens.
But if he countered straight up, you'd accept it, right?
Straight up. Yeah, probably. But I fear that what's the latest on Jefferson? I fear he's not even going to come back. Or it's
the same chatters we heard last week that they're going to MRI him in 3 to 4 weeks, see where the healing's at, and if he's not better by then they could shut him down for the season. So a lot of if this then that, we don't know shit till we know something.
I'll just say a lot of the narrative on him is more of it's not the injury that's not going to heal, it's that is his off the field situation and where he sits with the Vikings going to be fixed. Because if the Vikings did win. And I don't think the Vikings don't have a really easy schedule, but if they come back and they're, 3-5 and he can come back, I think he may come back and say, you know what, let's take a shot at it. Are they really going to make the playoffs? Probably not. But a big difference between their 1-7, they're 1-8. At that point, He doesn't have a contract. Cousins could be gone next year. Like, what incentive does he really have to go back out and say, like, he can just say, what I've put on paper the last 3.5 years is what you're paying me based on. There's no other, there's no other exceptions to that. So I don't know. It's a lot of narrative. He may come back in 4 weeks and smash again, and people have just sold him like, oh man, he's never coming back all year.
Yeah, they play the 49ers, the Packers, the Falcons, and the Saints as their next 4 games. Just throwing that out there. Okay, let's go to a question here. I see let's go to our first super chat. And our first super chat was none other than Professor Charlie T. Thank you very much, Professor. Appreciate it. He says, hashtag going all in, 10-team start 9 superflex. What would you add to Anthony Richardson to get Jamar Chase? What would add to him to get Chase and CMC? I've got Allen, Watson, Wilson, Olave, Flowers, DK, Ridley, Najee. No picks until 2025. The Chase CMC owner is open to trade. Okay. So first off, should this be taken in baby steps, or are we doing all of it
sure.
at the same time?
He wants Chase and CMC. It's going to take Anthony Richardson, your 25 first. Hopefully you have someone else's 25 first, because that's really the one I'll want. You're going to have to give me Chris Olave and Zay Flowers.
Yeah, it's a 10-team start 9. So Richardson matters, but he doesn't matter nearly to what you probably think he does. So it's probably McCaffrey, I'd say, is equivalent, if not more valuable than Richardson in a 10-team. And then you're taking on Chase. So it's probably, I'm agreeing with Shane, I'd probably want a first. If the team says, I don't want to deal with, I'm assuming this is one of Charlie's leagues that he's mentioned in the past, where it's just, disgustingly stacked. If you looked at the team, if he's getting Chase and CMC, the other team has to say, yeah, I'm not confident this pick is going to be good. So if I'm the other team and I'm saying Chase and CMC, it's Richardson, Olave. Richardson, Olave, Garrett Wilson is the starting price.
Yeah, or DK is the starting price.
No, DK and Calvin Ridley and the 25 first are the throw-in that you ask for as the fourth piece to see if they'll accept it. But I think it's starting with, I want two I think higher end assets that I can continue to start. Is Calvin Ridley and Najee Harris even locked in starters in a 10-team start 9? Like, not exactly. So those don't add much value, especially to an older team. So
I'll just say, Najee Harris shouldn't be starting. I can see debating Ridley, but you shouldn't even be thinking about
debating. But if I'm moving Chase in a shallow league, it's like, give me Olave and Wilson. You know what I mean? Give me 2 shots to get to 85% of Chase. And if I lose, I lose. But at least I'm giving myself 2 strong shots.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. So part of Charlie's super chat there was obviously Anthony Richardson. Alex got in early when I set up the stream, 10:15 this morning, asking for a price check on Anthony Richardson and also QJ. He says, how we feeling? Shane, go ahead. Price check. Price check on Anthony Richardson.
On Anthony,
2 firsts. Are you buying him for a 25 first and a 26 first? No problem.
Oh yeah. I won't even think about that. I don't care.
Would you give a mid 24 first, a 25 and a 26?
So 3 first now?
3 first.
Well, no, because now I'm going to go to the other people that have players that are playing football that I've seen at more than 2.5 games and see if I can get them. And if not, I'm just going to keep them first in my pocket, I think.
Scott, let me ask you this. If you're trying to get Anthony Richardson on your team, is it a team where talk through the different scenarios? So there's a team where you're tiering down to him, and then there's a team where you're tiering up to Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, the teams that I'm tiering up from Anthony Richardson are probably ones where I just have a ridiculous amount of assets and I'm willing to just say, you know what, I'm going to pay the screw it tax of like, you know what, I'm just going to throw an extra first on top of him to go get one of a couple QBs. But here's the problem. Knowing what we know right now about how the quarterback scoring is distributed, look at the war graph for the quarterback scoring and see how flat it's been. Even if you look at, aside from Josh Allen for the most part, but even Josh Allen came back to normal a little bit on Sunday. Justin Herbert back to normal. The quarterback scoring is flat. So if I have Anthony Richardson and I want to go replace what I thought was going to be an elite QB, I'm going to have to go pay not just Anthony Richardson, but a tax on top of it to get the perception that I'm getting an elite QB for the rest of the season. But then I go and trade for Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow. You know, like, am I even getting better production than I could get if I just go found a replacement QB in general? So I think you have to be very specific. I mean, the only guys I'm even interested in tearing up really from Richardson are Allen and Mahomes.
Herbert.
I don't necessarily. I don't even think Herbert. If I have to add a first, wouldn't I be better off just going and trying to buy a cheaper QB and just banking on that QB versus paying what I feel like next year you're going to have Richardson in the top 6 or 7, maybe 8 going into the season. So it's like, how much do I want to pay? If it was guaranteed production, sure. But the way teams are distributed right now, yeah, I mean, there's few names. So the tiering up from Richardson, I don't think exists because the person's going to want, if I ask Clay, what do you want for your Jalen Hurts? And you're a middle of the pack team who has not given up yet. And I'm giving you Anthony Richardson.
I'm going to need 2 firsts somehow on top of Anthony Richardson, even if I'm giving back a second or a player worth a second.
Right.
Yeah.
So Shane, if I was banking on Richardson and I lost him, aren't I just doubling down on my problems if I give Clay 2 firsts to get out of him and go to Jalen Hurts? I mean, I'm getting Jalen Hurts, but it feels like if I'm already in that situation, I guess here's the problem. If I tier off of Anthony Richardson, which I've tried to do a couple times, hey, can I go buy, this player and a couple players, or this player and another skill player and a first, or something like that? And immediately the response is like, I'll give you Matt Stafford in a late first. Yeah, I'll give you a producing QB and a random late first. And at that point, I'm like, all right, I'm better off just going and buying a random quarterback than I am trying to tier off of Richardson. Sure. So maybe it feels, I want to ask Shane's opinion. Shane, who are you willing to tier off from Richardson to that you can do that and get a plus for? Who can I get a first on top of for my Richardson that I think could give you good bang for your buck? Would you bet on like a Dak Prescott or a Deshaun Watson or someone like that?
Deshaun, Dakota, if they're going to let him do what he did yesterday, run around a little bit.
Kyler?
Fuck yes. God, yes. Broctavius Curry.
We were just talking about that before the stream. Sorry. He was like, we've been 2 shows in a
just
row.
Timestamp it. J Rich 1740-ish. There's an F-bomb, but I blame Scott completely for that. Yeah, dude, I'll take a first and Broctavius Murray for A Rich.
Kirk Cousins?
Hiya. No.
We out on Cousins now that J Jeff is gone?
You know what? Now that I think about
Never.
Dak, you're out too. Dak too.
Because you've always called Dak the same as Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, when you brought Cousins up, it made me feel differently about Dak now that I put him in that light. So it's still going to have to be a youngish guy who I still see with some ceiling.
Would you do Bryce Young?
And a first for Anthony Richardson? I'm getting it. Yes, I'd smash that.
So you take Bryce Young would be in that category of guy you would tear down to if you could get the extra first, even if it's 25.
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
Yes.
That's good to know. A lot of people are scared of Bryce right now.
His market is hot right now. I'm getting so many Bryce Young offers. I've got a lot of them, and everybody's trying to get me to tear down to him. Let's see here, or excuse me, tear up from him. JCap 1030. Thank you for the super chat. 1 of 2. At what point do you pack it in for the season and look towards next year? I'm 2-4 right now with bad luck. 3rd overall in points for, but 2nd in points against. In 10th place. 12-team superflex, start 10, PPR, 1.5 for tight ends. Hurts, Stroud, Carr, Gibson, Monty, Connor. NERB on a 53. Devontae Smith, Mari Cooper, Addison, Thielen, Kittle, Komet. He's got 224 firsts, 2 seconds, 2 thirds, and all future picks thereafter. So what do you think here? At what point do you pack it in for the season and look towards next year? Again, he's saying he's 3rd overall in points for, but 2nd in points against, and that was his team.
Well, I mean, he's 3rd overall in points for and 2nd in points against. So his 2-4 record is probably not a true reflection of his team. But I think we are getting close to the point where And I've heard it on a lot of content that I've already listened to this week, and it applies more to redraft, but I think it's the same to Dynasty. If you're 2-4 or 1-5 and you just got Cooper Kupp back, you just got Jonathan Taylor back, maybe you had a couple players on early bye weeks, you're thinking, okay, I need to win like 4 in a row to get back in it, right? But you're not out of it. But if you're a 2-4 team, and I'm looking right now, like looking in his roster, he's going to be without David Montgomery. He's without James Conner.
Right.
CJ Stroud has a bye. Like he's got Adam Thielen has a bye. He's got like not a guaranteed even win this week. So now if you say I'm 2-5, I don't even care what my points for or my potential points are or my all play record. I'm 2-5. Like I'm going to have to win 7 out of 8 games to even get back in the mix. And now the other would be 7 weeks of playoffs. I mean, you have to win 6 out of 7 at least, or 5 out of 7 at least, maybe 6 just to even be in the mix. So that's where it becomes tough. Like if you're 2-4, I'm not saying you're out of it, but man, if you have like 6 bye weeks, which is possible this week because we have like 4 good teams and like 6 overall teams on bye, like you gotta stack wins. So I don't know. It feels like he has to go trade for starters this week, which is kind of ruining the fact that you're not really sure if you're going to go in or out. So I'd say you're probably out. I don't know if Shane has any thoughts, but this is not looking promising with what he has on the screen.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you're going to be likely 2-5 is a hindrance. Now, the thing is I know Scott thinks you need to run off 37 wins in a row. But you probably don't. You know what I mean? Look, we see it every year. Teams that are like 6-7 make the playoffs. Like it happens all the time. That's
7, and I'd say you had to go 500. Right,
500-ish, yeah. So if you get to 500-ish, I mean, you do have to rip off like 4 wins in a row at some point. So do you have the steam for that?
Unless points get you in, because he says he's third. So if points get you in, then maybe you're in better shape.
If points get you in, then you just keep pushing. Like it doesn't matter. Like I don't care if you finish in 10th, you're clearly making the playoffs based off points. So I'll also look at that. But you do need a lot of things to go right. And as fun as it is to be optimistic, I'm okay with going, you know what, this just isn't my year. I'm gonna pack it in and we're gonna try this again.
So Alex earlier had a rebuild question. If 2024 firsts are trending to back half of the draft, are you trading now or holding in the hopes that they go down? Shane, we'll start with you on this one because last year you had said that if you're, this amount of weeks in, week 6, week 7, 5, and you can tell where a 24 first is going to be and that it's going to be late. If you want to contend, buy first, right? You're more than willing to package it in because they always go down in value.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a hiccup anyway.
There's that tier that you get to where you're like, it's Quentin Johnston and Michael Myers. Like, who am I drafting? I don't know. I don't want to draft any of these people. Are you trading now or holding in the hopes that they go down? I don't understand what he's asking. I gotta be honest. I don't understand the question.
I think he means down, like they go down in the draft. So it goes from like 110 to 108.
Right.
Like they get closer to the bottom, which would be better for him.
So he's open to buy them now and hope that they
like I see a team that's 5-1 and everyone in the league says that's the 112 because they're in first place, but you don't know if they're actually going to finish there. So do you wait or do you just trade with what they look like today is the way I interpreted the question.
Justin Fields or a 2026 first? That randomly came to my head. You're taking Justin Fields?
I think. Hold on. I'm thinking about that.
Scott?
26 first is hard, but I talked about it a couple weeks ago. Shane was very adamant on the stream that it's any first and Justin Fields is gone. And then we bought back into the 2 games against lackluster competition. Then we're going, oh man, he's going to smash. I mean, I heard it, and I'm not going to say any names, but I heard it from quite a few people. Man, just ride Justin Fields out through this nice schedule. Silly gets injured during it. And then now you're like, okay, he's not going to play during this nice schedule. And then the back half of the schedule is tougher. And I mean, the Bears play the Panthers, I think, coming up. Maybe it's week 10 or something like that. Like if the Bears can beat the Panthers, they're almost setting themselves up for the 101. You know, that's one of the teams that probably could beat them. And if they can win that game, then like it's just pointing towards, man, it's going to be rough sledding for Justin Fields to recover, even if he comes back and scores points. So if you just said, I am going to take the last life raft and take a first and just wipe my hands clean, and whatever happens to his career, I wish him the best. but he's not on my Dynasty roster anymore, I'm okay with it. Take the first, because I don't think you're getting a 24. I don't even think you're getting a 25 at this point.
And I'll say this, like, and I was fine with if you wanted to go buy in on him for the production of this year. I was like, it's cool. Just understand it's a sunk value over the last couple of weeks. Now that you're not getting that production because he's going to be out for however long he's out, it's really hard to justify then giving up that first. Like the whole reason I was willing to buy in on him in certain spots was literally just for production, and no other reason. So if you're not getting that, then what's the point of shipping out the pick?
So you're buying Tyson Bagent, Shane?
No. Why?
But you could get production from him. Good schedule.
No. Good production. Justin Fields and Tyson Bagent aren't the same. I mean, I have Tyson Bagent in like 4 leagues, so hopefully he is. But
you fire him up this week?
The spamathon. He was involved today in our spamathon, right?
I haven't set my rosters yet. I don't think there'll be much Tyson Bagent in there.
Yeah, Shane has not gotten to that CJ Beathard he bought from me for a 4th.
Well, now it's looking like Trevor's going to be fine. So.
But you had Trevor, so you had to buy that insurance. It's like buying the rental car insurance. When you drive it for the day, you got to make sure you pay that extra $30 in case you wreck it. That's exactly what you did. You're good.
Yeah.
Joseph, thank you for the super chat. 1 of 2 rebuilding team, 12-team superflex, start 10, no tight end premium. Josh Allen, Deshaun Watson, Orb, also known as 0 RB, JSN, Christian Watson, other mid wide receivers, no tight end. 524 firsts, including the 101 for sure. 325 firsts. What's the best way to go about filling out my roster for the next year so I can compete? I've been trying to hold on to my first till the off season where they're more valuable.
I mean, Joseph, Burgundy, you have mastered this build. There's no reason to really worry about anything right now. I mean, if you want to move Watson, if you can move him can you go to the Anthony Richardson manager and see if you can get something done there? Like, I'd be okay moving Watson, knowing you have the for sure 101 according to you. Right. And then what would that be? 4 other firsts next year and 3 the year after? You can't worry about this. What do we always say? If you're going to build around a gutted rebuild, at least have some quarterbacks in place. And all you have to do is just find receivers and running backs. It's not that hard. Not even worried about tight end yet. So I would just relax. You have 8 firsts over the next 2 years, including potentially like 2 or 3 elite players plus Josh Allen plus JSN and Wami. I'm good. Mm-hmm. Trust the process. I'm not worried right now who I'm going to get with those picks or how I'm going to trade them away for talent.
Yeah, and I've seen this question come up, and not specific to this, but kind of around this point. Like, people asking us, like, should I be drafting Caleb Williams or blah, blah, blah with my 101? I'm like, we don't have to make a pick for 7 months. Like, what are you doing? Calm down. You don't have to pick right now. You have 7 months. A lot can happen between now and then. Hopefully, you end up trading the pick away for a haul.
I want everyone to sit back and just remember what it feels like right now. We're in the midst of the season, right? We're starting week 7. What does the market feel like right now? What are you able to do on the market if you have young players or future picks? Vice versa, you can go and fill a team. Is it uncomfortable to go fill a team? Is it uncomfortable to go give up a first plus for Cooper Kupp, 2 firsts for Tyreek Hill? Like, that doesn't feel great. But you're not telling me if I had a bunch of assets to throw around, I could go build a competitive team right now in a league? I talked about this on DD. It has never been easier in Dynasty to go build a team from nothing to competitive. Doesn't mean it's going to be stocked. It doesn't mean it's going to dominate the league. But to go from I have nothing to where I have a competitive lineup, that is extremely easy if you have assets. So I am never worried if I have 8 firsts and those high-end players already. Just wait for the time to come, and then the deals will start rolling in.
Yeah, you got so much flexibility, so much liquidity in those picks, and being orb with all of those picks is perfectly executed. Let's go to Tanner here. Thank you for the super chat. 1 of 2, 12-team superflex, start 11, 1.75. Deshaun Watson or a top 6 first. The team is Justin Herbert, Deshaun Watson, Jamar Chase, Garrett Wilson, QJ, Hyatt and Reed are getting shouted out, and Pitts not competing, getting the 101. The first guy, the guy would send is sitting bottom 3 in max points for. So there's a chance that first is top 3, no guarantee. So Deshaun Watson or a top 6 first, and your QBs are Herbert, Watson, and you've got the 101 in your pocket.
I'm just holding on to Deshaun Watson there. I should do better than the 106 for him.
It's a good question, though, because he says it could be the 103, and he already has the 101. So if it's the 103 and I have the 101, I almost would be fine doing it that way because now I have extreme flexibility. But
you'd be like, all right, I have Herbert, Caleb Williams, and Drake May, right?
You have the 103. Doesn't necessarily mean you couldn't move up to the 102 or you couldn't trade out for something else. For me, it's about my roster construction. Right now, you're saying I have Watson in hand and I'm getting Caleb Williams. That's going to be hard for me to pass the Herbert, Watson, Caleb QB room. But you never know. I mean, maybe it's a little bit of a sweetener on top to that 106. I don't think it's crazy to say if you're giving somebody a top 4 pick, they can buy pretty much any QB outside of the top couple.
Yeah, you know what? You add that pick and you can do more with that pick, adding it to something, and probably you can Watson, to be quite honest with you. It's more flexible, more fungible. Like, even if Watson's what you're selling, you're limited to the teams that need a quarterback. Anyone will buy a pick from you because they can do anything with it. So yeah, I guess looking at it from that lens, yeah, I'm fine making that move.
So here's one. We'll make this quick, but half PPR, Saquon or HN?
You know what? I'm going to go with A-Chain because I think there's more market for him, especially when he's ready to come back. I think that's one of the few running back assets that when they announce he's healthy and he's back, there will be a market where you can move him for not anything you want, but he will get the conversation started to assets that Barkley will not get to. And I think that's solely the reason I would take him. And that's very weird to do an analysis on a running back and say I'm taking him for the market value. Mm-hmm. But like A-Chain's one of the few that all it's going to take is he's healthy. And the offense has not collapsed. If those two things are true, then I think people are going to want him when he's ready to come back 100%.
And you're not missing much with Saquon right now. I mean, yeah, you're missing some points, some production, but it's not like if you go with the HN side that you'd be surrendering or foregoing so many fantasy points.
You could get by with a placeholder instead of Saquon, probably, yeah.
Yeah, and there's every likelihood to expect that Saquon's going to get injured again. I know you shouldn't predict injuries, but that dude sure does seem to get injured a lot. Just saying.
Everybody does. Mike, thank you for the super chat. It is a 10-team start 10 superflex half PPR. Mahomes, Kyler, Howell, Ramondre, Javonte, Gross, Jefferson, Amon-Ra, St. Brown, Nico, Judy, Diojon, Freiermuth, and Cans have all picks plus an extra 24 and 25 first, 3 and 3, but lowest max points for, and that determines the draft order. Suggested moves. 2 or 3 teams at the top are blowing people out of the water each week and are going to be difficult to compete with this year. Right now, both of my 24 picks are projected early. Okay. So 10 teams, start 10, Superflex, half PPR.
So this is a team that should not be 3 and 3. And it sounds like they are probably overperforming. And they've gotten a couple weeks with the right distribution of points that have helped them win 3 games when they probably don't deserve it, given they have the lowest potential points in the league. And that determines the draft order. That right there tells me I'm already in the driver's seat. What am I doing with Sam Howell and Ramondre Stevenson and Javonte Williams and, luckily Pat Freiermuth and Deontay Johnson and I guess Jerry Jeudy have all just naturally been on my roster and been zeros. So that helps me. But isn't this a team you're already in last with potential points? Aren't you like, I'm already in the driver's seat. Let me get rid of some points and keep Mahomes, Kyler, and Jefferson and just
get
live for next year. Yeah.
Find someone that's going to buy the production off of Hal and not notice that he's not actually good at football and going to get replaced soon at some point because he's
who can we tier to?
Featured.
What injured guys can he tier to? He's already got Jefferson and Kyler. Can he go get Can he go get Richardson? Can he go get who other injured players can he get?
Well, that's the problem. That if I'm going to get Richardson, I got to give something that's actually valuable this year. So what am I giving? Hal, Ramondre, and
I mean, how about
Nika?
How and does How and Amon-Ra get Nick Richardson?
Whoa.
No.
Can I and throw in one of the running backs? I don't give a shit about Ramondre.
Yeah,
or
you have to throw in
Javonte
Javonte.
Williams.
If you throw in Javonte, maybe no.
That's moving the needle.
Yeah.
I think you could give.
10
I think you give up Hal, Ramondre, and Nico Collins as your opening offer for Anthony Richardson. Hopefully, that team is competing and needs a quarterback, and they go, oof, I don't know, but I mean, just send it out. Again, here, I want to get this out too, and I'm tired of people reaching out and going, should I send this offer? Just send the offer. In the time that you take to DM me, asking if you should send the offer, you could have sent the offer.
So Scott and I made a trade today.
Ooh.
I traded, what is this? I traded Jimmy Garoppolo and a 24 second, which looks to be earlier mid, and I got Sam Howell. I lost Justin Fields and Garoppolo this week, right? So, and I'm in first or second place, needed a body at QB. So what do you think about that trade, Shane?
Yeah, I look again. I like it. Hal's producing. You know what I mean? Like long term, I don't know how I feel about Hal. I'm joking about how bad he is at football. He's better than Desmond Ridder, and he looked competent against the Eagles ish. But for production now, I think you're fine. Like dude's going to get you rushing yards every week, and he at least seems to like to throw the ball a lot. So
it was the perfect storm.
And Jimmy G doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Jimmy G is a useless. He's like an empty. Like there's nothing there. There's nothing. Like that's a waste of a roster spot. If I was Scott, I would have told you to hold Jimmy G.
No, it was perfect because Sam Howell was Scott's like QB4 or something. So I knew he wouldn't care about moving from Sam Howell to Jimmy G. I'm dealing with sending a trade to Process Man himself. I was like, if this is not a Scott trade, I don't know what it is.
Well, and to be fair, it is a team where I'm also competing with Clay. But I have Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, and I have a bunch of backups too. So it's like I'm forgoing Sam Howell this week, who I would have started because Burrow's on a bye. But aside from that, I'm sitting here. This is the same league I got Sam Howell from Shane last week. And I wanted him because knowing Shane doesn't value Sam Howell, if he's rebuilding, he knows he thinks he's dead after this year. So he gave him to me, and I'm like, all right, can I turn – I mean, what have I always talked about? If you can turn your QB3 into any extra value and get, listen, I'm sure Clay's happy to move off of Jimmy G because who the hell knows when you can ever play him. But, the process only fit because I had better quarterbacks than Jimmy G. If Sam Howell was my 2, then I probably wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, I think so. 14 team superflex too. Whatever. I was.
And you tried to send me a bunch of junk to make the deal, and I'm like, Clay, just give me the second.
Did I really?
It was like 2/3 and a 4th, and it was extra stuff. And I was like,
sound like me.
Give me just the 2-for-1, give me the leverage, you get the starting QB, and we'll see how things shake out. Sam Howell will probably beat me in the playoffs.
That was a good trade. Larry Martinez, thank you for the super chat. 10 team, 1 QB, half PPR, start 7. My goodness. Traded 2 late 25 firsts. Puka, Nico, DJ Moore, got CD Lamb. That was pre-week 4. I'm just looking at your guys' faces and I can't like keep talking. Please talk me off the ledge. I'm gonna jump, is what he says. His team is JJ, Chase, Tyreek, DK, CD, JSN, Bijan, Brees, Javonte, Herbert. I just really wanted to have another top 5 dynasty receiver, but I'm afraid I gave up too much when I didn't have to. Guys, start 7, 10 team, 1 QB.
It's a start 7. He gave up a shit ton, but I understand that it start 7. I mean, before Puka's breakout, I mean, this was week 4. So, after week 3, his value was pretty high. You gave up a lot. You probably shouldn't have, given what you could have done with the pieces 3 weeks later, but
yeah,
like he shot his shot, right, Shane? It's a start 7. Like he got a top 5 dynasty receiver. He overpaid, but like
I imagine he went down the list of receivers and tried this offer
Well, he didn't because half of the players above CeeDee Lamb are already on his roster. So
I'd rather do it. I'd rather do it in this case in like such a shallow format. I'd rather have AJ Brown. Like I wouldn't care as much about CD Lamb's like dynasty value out of those two, who's worth more, quote unquote. I'd want like hammer production. I'd rather do AJ
I want
Brown.
a dude. I want a dude that's going to put up like he's not exactly putting up Tyreek Hill weeks, but in that general vicinity, in that neighborhood, like a dude that I think can do that. Can Lamb do that? I don't know, man. I like Lamb a lot. Don't get me wrong, but I definitely prefer AJ Brown. It is a start 7, so it's all the context is not skewed. That's not what I'm looking for. But obviously the Puka's devalued, the picture devalued, and all that. Nico Collins is devalued. You're probably not starting Nico Collins in the start 7.
And did he even name a tight end? Like
I don't need it.
I didn't see a tight end, but
you need Kelsey or nothing.
It does matter in a start 7 because it's still one of your 7. I guess if you're stuck in this situation, for anybody out there that's in a 10-team start 8, start 9, and your team is just absolutely stacked, and you're constantly going, man, how do I give everything on my bench for a hammer? Would this team have been better served? You could have probably smashed with Brees, Bijan, Chase, Tyreek, Jefferson. You didn't need to make the move. Would you have been better off waiting for the next top 8 receiver to get injured and then trading Puka a first, only 2 or 3 of those pieces for the stud instead of having to give up 5 of them? You know what I mean? Like the pressure wasn't on you to replace the one spot you thought you were weak at in week 3 versus couldn't I have waited till a semi hammer player gets injured, and then all of a sudden now I have the leverage over that person going, Clay, you just lost AJ Brown. Will you give me AJ Brown for DJ Moore and Puka? You're probably going to be like, damn, that's appealing. You know what I mean? Because I'm out a guy and I'm getting 2 players I can start. Like that's how you do it if you have tons of assets like that, not a 5-for-1.
Good stuff. So MG Edits had a question for us earlier. Interesting trade, he says. 12-team Superflex PPR start 10 tank team. DJ Moore for a late 24 first. But I have the pick of the person who would be getting more, and he's struggling at wide receiver. Do I hold to tank his team, or should I not worry about helping him? Thanks, guys.
Well, you always worry about if you're helping the other team. There's a reason we ask, like, whose first are you getting back when you're trading players to another team? Like, are you getting their first back because first isn't worth as much? I find someone else to trade a 24 first to. Why are you helping this guy? You want his pick to be as awful as possible. I'm not helping him or her. Screw them. No, you're not trading with them. You can get a 24 first from someone else. You really want a 24 first for DJ Moore, you'll get it. The dude just scored 306 points in 2 weeks. Like, you can get a 24 first for him. Don't help your enemy.
I'm not worried about DJ Moore scoring me.
I'm with Clay. I'm kind of torn on this because
no Justin Fields.
Would I trade DJ Moore right now for a 2024 first, just for the liquidity and a 10 team? Even if I'm competing, I'm guessing I can probably replace that spot, right? I think Clay agrees with that. So if I don't get that deal, isn't he probably just going to go for a trade for another guy just like DJ Moore and give that guy the first, and then you don't get the first? He still gets a receiver, and really you didn't benefit at all. So I almost look at this like I'm bleeding him of his last flexible asset, and all he's getting is DJ Moore with Tyson Bagent. Like, if that's going to beat me and crush my pick, then I lost. But that feels like one of them, like, that's what I want him to spend his money on. Like, that's his only pick, and he wants DJ Moore? Okay, sure.
Yeah, because
I'm helping him. Yeah. I'm helping him, Shane. I'm feeding the monster and saying, please use your one bullet on DJ Moore, and I'll keep the pick of yours that will not get any better.
So this is the one part of the strategy of Dynasty football that not a lot of people except for me talk about, right? I'm petty. I am super petty. And I will do things out of pettiness and for no other reason than out of pettiness. Now, if this was the only dude I could get a 24 first out of for DJ Moore, or a lady that I could get a 24 first out of for DJ Moore, I'd be like, yeah, you know what? Do it. I think I can get it somewhere else, and I don't want to help this person. And I want them to have to go overpay for someone. I want them to go trade for Tyler Lockett or something. I don't know. I don't care. I just don't want to help someone kick me in the nuts. That's all I know. Like, I don't want to facilitate the nut kicking of me.
That's totally fair. That's totally fair, Shane. All right, let's move on to the next one.
Why are people
What's
like
up?
this? Why are people like this?
Like what?
Jordan Addison and Zay Flowers for Devonta Smith and Gabe Davis. Why would I do that? Why would I do that?
Yeah, you want Flowers and Addison, right?
Yes. Why?
Yeah.
Under what circumstances would that trade make sense?
Oh, I mean, good Lord.
Too
Add
rich,
it to
bro.
the trash trade offer list for today. As for today's trash trade offer list,
Anyway, sorry.
you're good. Kyle, thank you for the super chat. 10 team superflex start 12, PPR 1.5 tight end premium, 2 and 4, 8th place. What do I do with this roster? It's got Tua, Deshaun Watson, Danny Dimes, Olave, Waddle, Ayuk, JSN, Andrews, Achan, Najee, Javante, 224 firsts, mine, and a mid to late one, 225 firsts, and 3 seconds. What do you think here, guys?
Feels like a mid roster and a 10-teamer. I mean, I know it's start 12, but your quarterbacks are. You can get by in a 10-teamer.
I mean, he's got
Deshaun. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, he's got the
that's okay.
QB3 and Deshaun, assuming that's not Deshaun Jackson and Deshaun. It's actually Deshaun Watson, and he plays football in a couple weeks again. That'd be nice. Hopefully this week, just to see what it's like. It's been a while. I haven't seen him on the field. Your quarterback room is fine. I like the wide receivers: Olave, Waddle, Ayuk. If I could use a chain and JSN and Javante as trade bait to get me another wide receiver, I'd feel even more better. I got 25 firsts. I'm okay with using both of those on wide receivers if I needed to. Like a chain, Najee, Javante, JSN, and 4 firsts. I'm upgrading at wide receiver. Like I'm getting me a wide receiver. It's happening.
This is the weirdest analogy, but Shane is like the kind of person that just sees someone just barely struggling in like the middle to deep end of the pool, and he throws like his entire mattress in just to save them. You know, he sees a team like this, and he's like, "Okay, what picks can I deal? Screw it, all those firsts are gone. Let me go try to buy. Let me go try to win 2 and 4." Start throwing picks around.
No, man, you can do it. You can do it with this team.
So
you got enough. Here's the thing: like you could shave off a 25 pick and a 24 pick if you don't want to go balls deep, right? And just leave yourself some more flex, so you're still flexible. You still got a lot of pieces you can move there, and that's all I'm looking at. Is there's a lot of pieces I can move around to get stuff. The chain, like you said, people still like him. I know the TikTok came out today where everybody's like, change the league winner. And I'm like, all right, fine. All I know is I'm offering them straight up for Puka in leagues. And people are like, nah, I don't think so. But whatever. Apparently there's a market for them. So you could use a chain and a pick, a chain and JSN and get a wide receiver, I'm sure.
That TikTok is crushing. I'm going to send it out as a short, like tomorrow, probably.
I think it's mostly hate views, which, I don't care.
It's fantastic. Okay, let's move on to Adam here. Thank you for the super chat. 12 team superflex start 9 PPR orphan. Watson, trash QBs, any 52 RB, Amari Cooper, Michael Pittman, Cortland Sutton, Jacoby Myers, 424 firsts that are in the 6 to 10 range right now. Sell first for players or continue deconstruction. Big thanks from Hawaii. Oh, aloha. Thanks for joining, Adam. Appreciate it.
Shane, they're struggling in the shallow end on this one. Are we throwing everything in to try to rescue this the 6th place team?
California Kings.
He said Watson and trash QBs. That's not a good feeling. Sutton is a trash can. 424 first, that are in the 6 to 10 range. Continue deconstruction. I mean, he's got some pieces that I like on a competing roster. Like if I have a Cooper and a Pittman and a Jacoby Myers and a Watson, but other players added to that, I'm pretty happy. But it's only start 9. I mean, you got 424 firsts.
But isn't this one you gotta dump Cooper and Sutton? And I mean, wouldn't you just go the other way then? Or because he has 4 receivers, maybe besides Pittman, like you're looking at, okay, what are they next year? Like what do you do with all the players on this roster? I think it's clearly he knows not to move the picks unless it's obvious to get the deal done. But like, what does this team look like going into the offseason? Who are the pieces you're excited about in the offseason? Watson? Pittman?
I like that.
Anything else?
I like Jacoby. Like Jacoby a lot.
He's there, but in a start 9, are you super excited about him, or are you just glad
No,
he's on your
no.
team?
I'm just glad he's on my team. I'm like really excited about this 4 first. So the fact that the 4 first, I'm more excited than anything else besides Watson probably tells you what you need to do. Yeah, keep up with the deconstruction.
Hey, so while I was thinking about it, and I'm going to load in a question here, but Danny Dimes, what are you selling him for these days? Are you selling him for a 24-second and a 25-second?
Yes, I have a long diatribe about the QBs right now that it's not going to be fit for this show. But I think you have to have some conviction on your QB strategy. And I'll just shout this out to everybody. I'm going to be doing a revamped version of the roster construction series on Destination Dynasty this year, towards the end of the year. But a lot of it's going to build on what I did last year, but it's going to be a little different. There's some things that I'm actually wanting to do differently because the market has changed. The way people are playing has changed. And maybe it's just my small sector of leagues, but I've noticed a couple things that I definitely would like to change from the last couple years. So that's going to answer this question more about the QB distribution and scoring. So I think with Danny Dimes, I mean, if you're betting on, honestly, you look at the Giants schedule and the fact that he has this neck injury that's apparently pretty mysterious in terms of how bad it really is. Like, I think the Bears and the Giants are the 2 favorites right now to be the 101. And
yeah,
let's say if the Giants get the 101 and they're bringing Caleb Williams to New York, is Danny Dimes' reign as a dynasty asset over? Because his only value was the Giants paid him and they're keeping him, and it's an okay system, what we thought, right? If all that's up in smoke and then it's like, yeah, we're going to have to trade him. Like, do you even want him anymore? And more importantly, does anybody out there want him at that point? He was universally hated by everybody before the contract anyway.
And that's the bigger concern. He was universally hated until he put up a QB8 season, which he did off the back of his feet, whatever, from his rushing ability. So yeah, the cops are coming. So I gotta go on mute.
They know where you are. I mean, it's Tuesday night. And let's address the crowd here real quick. We have 404 folks who have joined us. 404 hammers. We appreciate it. Hit that like if you would be so kind. Easiest way to help out this channel. Let's move on to a question from our Discord here. 12-team start 10 PPR 28-man roster contender gave Deshaun Watson, Achane, Zay Jones, 24 first late, and a 24 first that looks to be early. Got Burrow and Chase. So gives me Hurts, Burrow, Howell. Running backs, Bijan, Eckler, NERB on a 53. Chase, Diggs, Lamb, Pittman, Hollywood, Amari, and Diojon. Punted tight end, he has Schultz and Logan Thomas. What do you think? So gave Watson, Achane, Zay Jones, a late first and an early 24 first. Got Burrow and Chase.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. He gave up a lot, but he probably did it in one of those deals where this was the only time it was available to him because of whenever this was able to be pulled off. It was probably only available because of the the current situation with the Bengals. Like, they're not absolutely smashing. Chase is smashing, but Burrow isn't. So it's kind of like maybe he thought he got a little bit of a discount, but you could look back at this deal and say, if I don't win this year, I gave up a lot. I gave up, what did he give up? Watson, another Watson, first, and a top 4 per first, and Achane. I mean, gave up a lot of flexibility to get this stack.
Yeah, that's the thing. You gave up Watson and a first for Burrow, and then everything else for Chase, which was what? Another
Achane,
104 Achane, Zay Flowers.
He said it could be 102 in Achane for Chase, which is, I mean, that's expensive.
It's a lot. Look, you know me. I'm never gonna begrudge someone going for it and going for hammers like that. This is why we have picks and things like that, and this is why we can, we have lots of assets so we can consolidate them. So I'm okay with it, but it is risky. Definitely is risky.
Thank you, Chicago Scott, for the super chat. We've got a 12-team super flex, half PPR, full PPR for tight ends, start 8. I'm 2-4, 5th in total points. I have Justin Herbert, Sean Watson, Bijan, Gibbs, AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, DK, Andrews, Pitts, and 424 firsts. give Andrews, get a late 24 first and 25 first. Playoff push or add the draft capital?
Man, Shane, how comfortable are you just riding out Kyle Pitts and just living with the results? And if it's within 20% of Mark Andrews, you probably won this deal.
I mean, I'd say I felt really good in the first half last week because I was like, oh, after the week before and now the first half this week, like he's their dude. And then Arthur Smith was like, psych, you're going to get one target in the second half and Geno Smith is going to get a touchdown because I don't know. I have a mustache and I'm a doofus. Give Andrews, you get a 24 and 25 first.
Now they're late and it's a start 8. So the league may look at those picks and be like, yeah, that's a team we don't even care about their first. So that might be why the offer is on the table.
Yeah. And he already has 24 first. Like, is the league going to get annoyed at him too? And he's going to just have to pick with all of those.
I don't even care about that. I think I just hold on to Andrews here, though. Like, what are we trying to move Andrews for? We're going to move these. It's start 8, so there's not a lot of opportunities for me to do the whole consolidation thing, especially when I already have Bijan, AJ Brown. I'm fine with it. I think I'll hold on to Andrews here. Not enough.
I mean, the ultimate goal is the tight end production above replacement, pretty much, right? So do you, in this case, I'm going to ask Clay this just to see if, because I think there's a little bit of logic to go through a decision like this. It's a start 8. Really, all you care about is the tight end advantage, right?
Yep.
Now, if you knew Pitts could give you that 80% of what Andrews could, you'd trade Andrews away. But that's still a little bit of a suspect bet, right? Do you keep both in this case as, damn, if Andrews doesn't do it, the chance that Pitts does, I'm almost feeling really good about locking it down for the future. Do you look at it that way in a start 8, thinking, man, if I add 2 of them together, even though I can't play them together and you never want to flex one or the other, do you look at it as combined? You have a really good shot of locking down a tight end advantage versus the rest of the league. Does that kind of psychology ever come into play where you really value the insurance more, like in a start 8 like this?
So I think back to how you say you like to, I guess, hoard assets that could become elite and beat you. So when I think about a start 8 like that, there's only a couple other tight ends that could beat your positional advantage. So that could be a reason to have them both and hold them both.
Look, I'm okay with moving Andrews. I am. I'm okay with moving anyone. It's just, what am I getting back for? Too late first. This is one of those instances where I think I'd want a player instead. And the player that I want is like a wide receiver.
That's the thing. The reality is the person offering the 2 first is probably like, I don't want to give you my Chris Olave for him because Chris Olave is in my lineup in a start 8. Like, I want someone else to take the risk. So feels like it's probably the best offer he gets, but just think through those decisions. I think the shallower the leagues are, the more you have to think about what Clay just mentioned. You have to think about the value of the defense you're playing when you keep players on your own roster versus giving them to other teams. And also have to think about, okay, if something goes wrong, which a lot of shit goes wrong in an NFL season, what does my insurance look like? An insurance at like an RB3 spot, I don't care about. It's a body. But an insurance at like an elite tight end, if I have 2 of them, there's a thought there that, man, like I'm keeping somebody away from my Andrews, and I'm giving myself a shot where maybe Andrews gets hurt and Pitts is good. And it's like I still got the advantage that I had already been holding. So you got to think through those a little bit more in shallow leagues. Deep leagues, you just take the value. Give me the 2 first if it's a start 12. Just take the value.
Yeah, very, very different. They're very different mindset.
Jen, thank you for the super chat. Shane, we'll start with you on this one. 10-team superflex start 10 first-year league. Congratulations. Decided to rebuild after a slow start. T-Law, Stroud, Purdy, Garrett Wilson, Olave, Nico, Judy, JSN, Ramondre, Pierce have 324 first. 2 should be top 4. A second and a couple thirds. How to approach the toilet bowl since I can't fully tank. Toilet bowl winner gets first pick.
Perfect question for Shane. Perfect question for Shane. You got to play for the win here in the toilet bowl, Shane. That's like winning the champion. Shane would rather win the 101 than the championship.
But it's a 10 team.
Yeah, I mean, look, so I don't know when the trade, what do you call that? The trade deadline is. If there's a trade deadline, hopefully there's not. But if there is, I'd be moving seconds and thirds to win out.
That would be such a double whammy for Shane. Not only does he hate trade deadlines, he hates the winner of the toilet bowl getting the 101.
The trade deadline here, Shane, is week 11.
All right, well, then
Yeah,
guess
right.
what? At that point, hopefully she's tanked enough that she's got the non-playoff secured, which it sounds like she will.
Yeah.
But then she can start making moves so that her team is good enough to win the toilet bowl and win the pick that should go to the worst team who needs it the most. But whatever, it's like socialism in this league or something the opposite. I don't really know. I don't even know what socialism is. So I'd make some trades right at as late as I can as possible. No trade deadline, even better. I'm trading seconds and thirds to try to win the toilet bowl, because that 101 I'm willing to absolutely ball out for. I might even trade a first if I have to be quite honest with you, to get the 101, especially if one looks like it's going to be a little later. Although, how would you know? Oh, well, you would, because the playoff teams
definitely not socialism.
That's
Scott.
Not
even a little bit.
Like, how did you get there?
I time stamped it. I took a screenshot of the time on it. Scott, is Caleb super valuable though? The 101 super valuable in a 10 team super flex. You know, it makes a difference for 12, 14, 16, right?
The positional construct, not as much, but the name and the 101, I think, yes. I think that's where in a 10 team, I'm not as excited of getting a QB, right? Because it's a 10 team versus a 12, but it's still the 101 and it's still a person that everybody is going to know is the 101. So in that case, yeah, I want the 101 bad. If that's the best thing I can get, and like, how do I position myself best to get that? I don't care about anything else.
Yeah, I want the 101 or the 102. So be prepared to fight in the toilet bowl. I did that last year. I end up doing that like every year, where you're just trying to stank just enough, but you have some horses to win the 101. Look at Shane shaking his head,
because it's just wrong. It's just silly.
You know what's annoying about it? Because we were sending out a bunch of trades today. I've got firsts of other teams, and you go through in your head, you're like, man, there's a narrative to where this team barely misses the playoffs, and they could be getting me the 101 or 102. So it kind of messes with trading first, because you can come up with whatever, doomsday scenario in your head you want. It's tricky. It's tricky. I don't know.
It's tricky to rock around to a long time.
Okay, Creed Bratton. 12 team superflex, start 9 PPR. Tua, and thank you for the super chat. Tua, Watson, Kyler, Bijan, Aaron Jones, Tyreek, Cup, Amon-Ra, Olave, Pitts, Ford, Warren, Wilson, QJ on the bench. 2-4, but feeling good. Second half of the season. Examples of moves to make for one more hammer. 0 draft capital.
How are you 2-4 with Tua and Tyreek and Bijan and Amon-Ra? It must have been bad luck.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. If he's feeling pretty good about second half, I'm assuming Creed's got had some unlucky weeks here. I mean,
Tua and Tyreek alone in a start 9 should have gotten you at least like 2 wins, right?
Those two.
Yeah, Tyreek, Cup, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think you don't even need to touch your wide receiver room. Chris Olave is your wide receiver 4 in a start 9. Like, honestly, there's not much you need to do to this team. If you could upgrade Watson and use Watson and Kyler to go get Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and another piece back, I'd investigate that. I'd look into doing something like that, because it's start 9. I wouldn't advocate doing that in most leagues, but that's really one of the few places you can really upgrade.
Is this a week where you would look at your 2-4, but let's say you like your matchup, this particular week? Is it kind of thing where you may want to just let it ride one more week and see how the rest of the standings are shaping up?
I think one thing I would do with this roster is, he says he has 0 draft capital. I mean, can I liquidate Michael Wilson and Quentin Johnston? What can I get? Like, I like
together for a second.
I mean, I've sold 2 Quentin Johnstons today for seconds.
To
I put it in the chat. I'll tell everybody how I did it. I put it in the chat.
Mhm.
And then I had AI write the message for me. So it sounded super professional. And it talked about how I would be willing to give away Quentin Johnston at a nice discount. And I just asked people to I'll tell everybody the exact message. Let me pull it up. You guys do another question. Because it worked. I got immediate offers on Quentin Johnston in 3 leagues and just smash accepted them all.
Scott used an AI bot.
I wrote the message.
Warp Scott.
I wrote the message, and then I had AI basically refine it for me so that it would sound super professional, and I'll find it. So do another question.
A hypnotism subliminal message tool.
We'll wait for Scott on the Mike Diaz super chat 4-parter. Are you finding the message, Scott? Is that what you're looking for?
Let's pull it up on my phone.
Shane and I will go over this one. Ricardo Jones had a question earlier. This was 11:30 a.m. Not sure what I should be doing. What, if any, trade should I target? Rosters T-Law, Deshaun, Kyler, James Cook, Javonte, Ingram, Bigsby, CD Waddle, Elijah Moore, a bunch of trash cans. 10 team, Superflex, PPR, 2.0 for tight ends. I have all my picks and currently am the 200-point leader for the 101. Congratulations. I traded Rachaad White and Christian Kirk for a back half 24 first last week. Nice.
Can you get back to the first part of this?
Yeah.
Not sure what I was doing with trades of Ross, T-Law, Watson, Kyler, Jay Cook, and I mean, your team's not that good, so you're doing what you should be doing, right? You're getting rid of extraneous parts like Christian Kirk and Rachaad White, and I applaud you for getting a back of the first in any year for Rachaad White, because that dude has just been absolutely horrible at football, and I apologize to anyone that I told to target him. But anyway, I mean, you're doing exactly what you should. If you really want to lock down that 101, can I trade T-Law? The problem is I don't think you're going to get what you want back in return for T-Law, because he really hasn't been, what's the word I'm looking for? Good. He hasn't been particularly good, or he hasn't at least been into that elite level like many of us hoped he would move into this year.
Okay, did you find it, Scott? You got to read it?
I put it in the chat. You can throw it up there.
Okay, gotcha. Let's see here. Was it all the way at the bottom? I don't see it.
Nope.
Can you go ahead and put it up? I'm trying to make another banner. There we go. We're currently considering the possibility of offering Quentin Johnston at a discounted price. If you're interested, we kindly request that you submit an offer. That is absolutely.
And you got to use the we, like it comes. Sounds like it's coming from like the HR department or from the team. Within probably 30 minutes, 3 offers. So people are interested. They're just.
Yeah.
And it was just a tactic where I'm like, you know what? Instead of trying to go spam out offers, because I'm probably going to be sending a bunch of Quentin Johnston offers at slightly above the price that people want to pay. And I'm sending them to people that have no interest in them.
Yeah.
I'll just put this in the chat. And it shows that there are people out there that are willing to buy, but as soon as they think they're getting a little bit of a discount, then they're willing to send the offer. And for me, I mean, I have so many leagues. I think I have 6 Quentin Johnstons. I'm okay taking a second in a couple of them. It's not a big deal. You know, I take a 30% loss. One of them, I got him at the 112.
I got it. Scott.
It's a loss. So, okay.
Yeah. Someone noted in the chat, like in our bylaws, the bylaws that don't exist for any of our Dynasty Trades of 5 leagues, we're going to make no use of AI. Because that message was frightening. The undertones to it, I don't know if other people got it. It was very threatening.
You were threatened.
I was threatened. I understand computer threatened speak, and that was computer threatening speak. And basically, it was like, you trade for Quentin Johnston, or I might nuke Idaho. And I know most of us don't care about Idaho. We don't even know if it's a real place, but we don't want to take that risk. So we're just like, I'll give up a second for Quentin Johnston so that Idaho doesn't get bombed.
Right. Shane, are you a little freaked out by AI? You a little scared?
No. Look, there are overlords and I respect them.
Here's a question from our Discord. Different kind of topic here. Any tips for getting trades done in recently started Dynasty leagues where people don't know how to value picks yet and are hesitant to make deals? So this could go a couple different ways, but I thought when I was first getting started and we had a couple leagues, I like to just get a little trade out of the way, just something small just to get that message on Sleeper saying a trade had been completed, wake some people up. That's one way to do it. Is just get a couple trades done where somebody is not getting fleeced. You don't want to spook the league with some like blockbuster crazy thing going down right off the bat. Any thoughts, guys?
I mean, I think we always said just be the one that gets all the picks if they're not going to value them, and then they'll value them when you have them all. And they can't get them. And how many reviews have we done, Shane, where they're like, yeah, it's year 2 of the league, and people are starting to figure out that picks matter. You know, I think if they're devalued, just get them. I get what you're saying, Clay. You want to try to start the trading vibes off good, but if people are just going to be stubborn and you're willing to just play against the market that everyone else has, then why not just keep leaning into it? You know, get more picks.
Yeah, I totally didn't even address the question. I like reread it. I was like, oh, where people don't know how to value picks. Like, what the hell was I talking about? Talking about good vibes, like you said. Shane,
Yeah,
you got something to say?
Jesse Morris in the chat actually brought up a good point. Find out what Dynasty trade calculator they swear by, because every newbie swears by some trade calculator. And look, I'm not trashing it at all, because it's nice to have something to lean on, a frame of reference when you've never done something before. No, I won't bring that up. So there's nothing wrong with that, but use it against them. Find out, oh, you're a big fan of KTC. Well, what does KTC think of this trade? Oh, well, guess what trade offer you're getting? And the other thing we always talk about this, just be aggressive. Just send out our offers. You just send them out en masse. Look, we had a trade barrage today. I had to send out no less than 90 offers today. I made 2 deals. 2 deals. That's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah. I think I haven't counted how many I sent, but yeah, I want to say two completed trades. Okay, TaylorMade, thank you for the super chat. 10 teams, start 2 QB. Start 11, full PPR, tight end premium, Justin Herbert, Purdy, Russ Wilson, Gibbs, James Cook, Roshan, Charbonnet, Justin Jefferson, Devontae Smith, Higgins, London, Godwin, JSN, Dotson, then Goddard and Dulcich. 2 and 4, and I don't have my first this year. What moves do I make?
How do you get your first back? Who has your first? Go get your first back.
I don't know about that. I mean, I know the team's 2 and 4, but like you got a lot of assets. I mean, I guess you can go with all your assets and see if you can get your first back. But I mean, what's too much to pay off this roster? Because we got too many players that are disappointing, which is why you're 2 and 4. But like, who can you liquidate on this team that he would be willing to get his first back for? Like, where would you start? JSN?
Use chatbot.
London. What were you looking for? AI to answer?
Throw this question into the AI and have them formulate what offer should I make, right?
This was a big bummer losing Justin Jefferson. When I look at this team, that was a crippling blow.
So, I mean, here's the thing. Do you want to compete this year? If you still want to try to compete this year, you can move Jefferson or try to move Jefferson to hopefully someone that's not competing that has AJ Brown. That's like the only other dude. Add something to Jefferson and get Chase. Otherwise, if I don't think I could compete, Higgins having a down year, Godwin's okay. JSN hasn't done anything. Dotson's a flaming bag of trash. Then I'd investigate trying to get my own first back and going the other way.
Yeah, I just don't know without any picks to add to this. How, you're adding Jefferson plus what player on here actually gets Chase? And it's not Jahan Dotson or Zach Charbonnet. It's like, okay, do I add
T. Higgins?
Yeah, do I add Drake London and Jefferson to get Chase? Is my team then winning?
It's full PPR tight end, so maybe I could snooker someone into thinking that Goddard and Jefferson is an upgrade or good enough to get Chase.
In 2 QBs, I don't not like having a first. You know? I don't, but
would you actually lean into that knowing he has a bunch of extra receivers? Would you try to get like your first back using like JSN and a piece or something like that?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. T. Higgins and JSN or something, and try to get a top 3 first, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to Chris here. Was a quick one. Thank you for the super chat. 12 team half PPR, 24 third Romeo Dubs and McLaughlin for Marquise Brown. Shane, half PPR. Those 3 pieces for Hollywood.
Dynasty made this trade, right? Yeah, go get Hollywood. I don't care about a start. What is this? Start 9?
We're going to assume, let's assume it's start 9. 12
well,
teams.
Either way, I don't care about a 24 third. I like Romeo Dubs fine enough. Jameel Gloflin, that's not his name. Jaleel Gloflin. A little unknown fact, he's actually not that good. He ripped off one big run in his first game, and it made his EPA look really good, but the rest of his stats were trash. And Javonte already came in and was like, this is my house, except for targets for some reason this week. But no, yeah, I'd make that deal.
Yeah, agree. You're adding very little to Dobbs to get Marquise Brown. I'm good with that.
Mason, thank you for the super chat. 10-team superflex start 9. How do I go about trading Gibbs? I have 224 first projected, both mid. Lots of interest in Gibbs throughout the league. Good wide receivers and mid at running back.
So as someone that's tried to use Gibbs as a inducement, if you will, in every league I have him in, my advice would be to wait till he plays football, because no one's very excited to trade for him right now. Not even a little bit.
But there is a lot of interest in Gibbs. Did I mishear you there?
No, you're right. His says lots of interest in Gibbs throughout the league. Okay, well then he already knows. I'm confused. How do I go about why is he asking how he goes about trading Gibbs when he has lots of interest in Gibbs? If you have a lot of interest in Gibbs, then this seems easy. I won't.
All right, let's get the train back on the tracks here. We're gonna have probably a little bit of a debate on, is this the time to trade Jahmyr Gibbs, because he's potentially going to play. Maybe not this week, but he also says his construction sounds like he needs Gibbs probably more than some of the teams that want him in his league. So I'm looking at this going, if I'm already stacked at receiver and I don't have good running backs, I'm kind of relying on Gibbs being a quote unquote like difference maker. So can you trade him to get that production? Like, can I go up, or can I get lateral and get the same production in a piece? But like, sounds like what he needs is what he's also trading away. So he's probably got to be creative. What do you want out of this? Do you want to just get out of Gibbs, or are you trying to trade him for another receiver? I mean, what exactly is it that you want? Because I think you can use him. People still want him. Just, maybe you're better off waiting for him to play. If you want
you'd like for his value to accrue. Like, how desperately could you have needed him if you're doing okay this year? Because he's giving you absolutely nothing so far this year.
Right.
Mike Diaz, thank you for the super chat. Part 1, this is an inbox offer. 12-team superflex PPR, no tight end premium, start 10, deep bench. Terrible inactive manager, wants his 25 first back. Don't have my own 24 first. I'm win now. My team is Josh Allen, Deshaun Watson, Bijan, Ford, 20 cans, Tyreek, Chase, Olave, Marquise Brown, Mooney, Kelsey. I don't have my own 24 first. Okay, let's see. Here is the giving A-Rich, Minshew, Mostert, Chig. Not my 24 first, a mid one. The 101 and my 26 first. Okay, let me clean that up. Giving Anthony Richardson, Minshew, Mostert, Chig, a mid 24 first, and the 25 101 and the 26 first. Getting Herbert, Devontae Smith, and Josh Palmer.
He's giving a 20, so he's giving up 3 firsts.
Including a 101 and Anthony Richardson for
how
Justin Herbert and Devontae Smith. And Raheem Mostert in the deal, which as a contender, I don't really want to move Raheem Mostert for nothing in this trade. So
we're giving up
too much.
Drew Allar, Anthony Richardson.
No, don't even put names in. That.
Fine.
Did you just stick your tongue out at me?
Tongue outage.
No, look, obviously I don't care about Minshew, Chig, and Mostert's fine for this year. I don't know how I feel about.
You care about Josh Palmer?
Let's keep going.
Josh
with
Palmer, 6 for 60. Okay.
Yeah, there's 5 parts to this. We may never get through it.
Okay.
Earlier in the season, I traded away Devontae to this same manager for his 25 first and Marquise Brown because he's always inactive and has traded his pick every year, which has been the 101 3 years straight. He's so inactive. I don't want to counter. Instead, have went to the bottom 4 teams that are all tanking. And those are all of the top tier QB teams. and I'm currently awaiting any response to them for a possible A-Rich swap kind of deal. Advice? Okay. So that last part was the bottom 4 teams that are all tanking: Mahomes, Lamar, Stroud, and this guy are currently awaiting. Yeah.
Well,
What do you
like, I
think?
mean, you just kind of got to poke those other four. Like, hey, what's up? Can we make this happen? What are you looking for? Are we close? What do you want me to add? Do I need to add? What are you looking for? Just ask them. Talk to them.
Let's do this real quick. How about this? Let's approach it this way. Let's just look at this part 1. That's your team, and you know what you have pick wise. What are you trying to do with this team?
Joshua,
I'm not trying to add Anthony Richardson to every first I have to bail out the guy of the first that I'm already holding. So that team, it's kind of what Shane mentioned earlier in the stream. Like that is not the team that I want to bail out, knowing how much leverage I hold over them. And especially you say they're inactive and they've been the 101 for 3 straight years. I mean, I'm the 101 next year. His pick is viewed as like, I need a starter. I need a start 9, 10, or start 10 starter in my lineup right now before I consider moving that pick 1 for 1. And he doesn't have anybody like that. So would you offer Anthony Richardson in that 25 first for his Justin Herbert? And that's it. No other leverage, no other pieces. You don't help him out with any other points. Just that deal straight up. Are you even doing that? Because if you're not doing that, then we don't even have a conversation with this guy, right?
I'm not giving up. I'll give Anthony Richardson's valuation right now is 2 firsts. So I'm giving up 5 firsts. The production of Mostart. I don't care about Minshew and Chigakonkwo at all. And I think I said Chick's last name correctly, so I'm very proud of myself. Yeah, it was. Don't ask me to do it again. No, I'm not making this deal. Just go to the other league managers, the ones that are at the bottom, and try to talk to them, nudge them, poke them.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to this one right here. Just one last quick one from earlier. Got in at 10:43 a.m. Justin asks, what do you do when you're tanking? Non-playoff draft order is by max points 4 and have 5 young top 12 dynasty wide receivers scoring points. Trade them or keep them and know you're likely losing a spot or so in the draft. So I thought this is interesting because we know the difference between this spot or that spot in a rookie draft can get very expensive just to move a slot or two, up. But what does that look like? What's the balance there in terms of, you don't want to trade away young wide receiver assets who are scoring points. That's kind of ideally what you want. What do you think, Scott?
I have
Shane?
That's Scott. You go, Scott.
No, go ahead, buddy. You were about to talk.
Sorry. Well, I'm just noticing you've got 5 young top 12 dynasty wide receivers. So no, I'm not moving them. Why would I be moving them? My picks. I'm assuming his quarterbacks must be trash. Is that it? Like his quarterbacks are just garbage. Maybe I move 2 of them for a quarterback. Can I do that?
No. Can I turn one of them into Justin Jefferson? Can I turn another one into Garrett Wilson? Can I turn another one into can I get the receivers that are not going to hurt me as bad from
one of them is probably Garrett Wilson and Justin Jefferson. I mean,
no, he says they're all producing top 12 points. So the Justin Jefferson. So if he can get you got to get Justin Jefferson, right? Isn't that the primary target on a team like this? If I can move 2 of those guys, let's say I have Jalen Waddle and Drake London. Can I move those 2 for an injured Justin Jefferson?
Yeah, I got you.
And then park Jefferson on my taxi or park him on my IR, which helps my potential points significantly.
I took it as he is the top 5 of the top 12 dynasty wide receiver, young dynasty,
like 1 through 5,
like every other one he has. It's like, oh, I don't have Justin Jefferson, but I got Jamar Chase.
So he has Chase, AJ Brown, Tyreek Hill, and he's in last place.
He said young. He said young.
Okay.
So this is from Dalton Salerno, also known as Shane, says,
Look
"Go Phillies."
Dude, my forehead is massive. But yeah, thanks, Dalton. Go Phils. 3-0, bottom of the 6. Let's go, baby.
Jackie Moon says, until he's healthy, he's Anthony Richardson. Yeah, that's pretty good. Cans can be worked in pretty well. Keep trying here. 430 people still in here. Thank you so much for hanging out. Let's go to this one from Sean. Thank you, sir. Lamar, Watson, Carr, Bijan, JT, Gibbs, Henry, Chubb, Ford, NERB on a 53, Tyreek, Olave, Cup, Godwin, Burks, Deontay, JSN, Nuke, and Kelsey. Also Njoku. No picks. Are you worried about age? Any trade ideas for other hammers? QB and wide receivers says 11-1. So play against the league median 11-1.
You noticing a theme tonight with some teams where we're getting a lot of questions and it's like they have a pretty stacked roster and then it's no picks. Gutted all their picks for multiple years. I mean, it's a start. What? This is a start 11, I believe.
Yeah.
Or no, I don't think we even know.
Sorry, here we go.
We?
Part 2, he had here. Completely forgot about the most important part. No problem. 12 team superflex, start 9, half PPR. Thanks, Sean.
Start 9.
Yep, 12 team, start 9, half PPR.
And to start 9, doesn't he have some extra pieces here he can move for picks if he wants to get some liquidity back and still probably set the same strong lineup of? I mean, why are we holding Nick Chubb?
Can
we give him to him, Treylon, JSN? I mean,
yeah, probably the only reason you're holding Nick Chubb and Treylon Burks is just you haven't gotten an offer
no market
anything for them. But Godwin, there should be a market for. JSN, there should be a market for.
Dio John's close to coming back, right?
Dio John, at some point, I believe he's missed 34 games and he was only on the IR for 4. So I don't understand. Yes, he should be back at some point.
Well, you're stuck with Carr. You're stuck with Hopkins. You're probably stuck with Kelsey at the current price. So what else can I move? I move Treylon Burks. I'd move Treylon Burks for a second. I'd move Nick Chubb for a second. I'd move Njoku in this deal. I mean, I'm not saying get first. I'm saying just get something flexible because this is a good enough team to win. Clearly, it's 11-1. I don't want to go into the last week before the playoffs with no picks, 0 picks. That means I have nothing that I can just go buy if I need a piece or, like I want something. There's no reason to carry some of these guys on the bench, not in a start 9.
Yeah, that team, it's kind of weird that it's 11-1. Just looking at the
No, I mean,
alone. I know there's like a couple of hammers like Tyreek.
It's got Lamar and Tyreek and Godwin, and it's got some producers.
And Cup. I mean, Cup's had 2 monster weeks since he's come back, and Tyreek is.
I'm just saying,
I think Tyreek's worst week was like 16 points or something, right?
Well, and the good thing is it's 11-1, but it has Cooper Kupp, Jonathan Taylor, Travis Kelce. Like those guys haven't even like smashed all season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this team. I mean, that's a good enough team. I'd be selling from my excess there.
Yeah.
Faux show. Okay, SU. Thank you for the super chat. 1 QB, half PPR, start 9. I'm in third, and Contender lost. Okay, I'm in third, and Contender lost Justin Jefferson and Dobbins. Trade Pitts and a 24-second and a 25-second for Pittman and Najee. Starting roster: Justin Herbert, Breece Hall, Pierce, DJ Moore, Waddle, Hawk, and Pitts.
No.
I'm not trading for Najee, period. So I don't want him to be considered of any value as part of a trade. You know what I mean?
I mean, I'd rather spend one of those seconds and just go buy another running back. I'd rather go buy the next Zach Moss or Deontay Foreman. You know what I mean?
What's the delta, out of curiosity, here between Pitts and Pittman? Let's say it's not a tight end premium.
It's hard to measure from like a production standpoint. I would say it's Pittman, but this is a 1 QB start 9 half PPR, which means the tight end advantage is worth a lot more than we're probably giving it credit here. So this is just this is a blind faith on Pitts. If he hits, you're going to go, I traded Michael Pittman and got the third best tight end in the league. Like, what are people doing?
He'd be getting Pittman. He already has
he traded Pitts,
Hawkinson, and Pitts.
That's what I mean. If Pitts were to hit in this format, it would feel like, damn, all I had to give up is a wide receiver 2.
Yeah, right.
That's not really doing. I mean, he's a placeholder. So would it matter here who your other tight end was? He says he has Kyle or TJ Hawkinson already. Does that matter? Does that give you more willingness to move Pitts for any?
It kind of goes back to what we talked about earlier, the playing defense thing. Yeah. Interesting.
No, I don't want to move Pitts for that. Just because of the off chance that he does hit his ceiling. Because if he does hit his ceiling, he is Travis Kelce. So. No,
Metrics are still good, so it's hard to. And it's really just. I mean, how many times have we talked about just waiting for the situation to get better? You know.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, let's go to this one here from Mr. Martinez. Thank you. Which running back 2 should start? Dylan, Charbonnet, Gainwell, Cam Akers, Keaton Mitchell. Had Kyron, but his ankle gave, so I need advice. Season on the line at 2 and 4. My running back 1 is Bijan. Rest of the team is solid. Okay, so this is a start sit. Dylan, Charbonnet, Gainwell.
Well, it's not Keaton Mitchell because he's never played. It's not Kyron Williams. He's not starting. I'm good with AJ Dillon and his 6.3 points per game. I think I'd go Kenneth Gainwell against Miami. I think that's probably the one I would choose with Bijan. Who are his better options? The only other options would be, what is the third option? Keaton Mitchell and who else is it? Charbonnet. No, he's barely playing.
Here's the thing:
Gainwell.
Gainwell's really not being used much, and I know that the Eagles. It's a pretty good chance that game's going to be like 75 to 50.
So, who of his options? Who are you starting over Gainwell? Dylan?
Charbs.
Wow. Okay.
No, you do not look convicted. If only
Gainwell feels like a floor play, man. You know what Gainwell is?
Don't you want a floor?
Charbonnet is the floor play.
Yeah. Gainwell's a draw on 30 and 36 from your own 5. You're just like, whatever. Can we punt already?
The 3rd and 17 draw.
Yeah.
Okay, can we go trade? Can we go trade for a running back? Someone that has a good matchup? I mean, can we go trade for Isaiah Pacheco? I don't know.
Let's go to Jesse McDavid. Thank you for the super chat. 12-man start 10 tight end premium, 1-5 record. T-Law, CJ Stroud, Mac Jones, ARSB, or he put Sun God, and I decided to read ARSB. Devontae Smith, Godwin, Judy Ridley, Tank Dell, Elijah Moore, Javonte Williams, B-Rob, Zach Moss, Hawk, no 24 picks. There we go again. 3rd point scored. Do I keep going or sell? ... Shane, 9 p.m. on the dot. Let's see if you can find it super quick before I bail on this completely.
It's interesting that he mentioned it as it's brain rob.
He said brain rob.
What did he rob my brain of?
I'm sorry.
Visually appealing football.
9 o'clock, Shane. Jesse McDavid. Jesse McDavid. Another part.
There's no part. Another part. He's asked, does he keep going or does he sell?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, you have no picks, so you don't have an incentive to really sell unless you're getting your own first back.
Where's the punctuation?
There's no question mark, so Clay figured it continued, right? So what can we sell here? Let's give him like 30 seconds of like what can we actually sell here that doesn't disrupt our roster construction next year to where we're not just starting over completely. We don't have my pick.
Godwin,
who are you
Judy,
selling
Ridley,
here, Shane?
Godwin,
you selling
Judy,
Tank Dell?
Godwin, Judy, Ridley, Tank Dell,
Elijah Moore,
Javonte Williams, Brain Rob, Zach Moss. I would hold on to obviously Hawkinson. I'd hold on to Devonta Smith, especially right now. You're not selling at a position of strength from him. Obviously, not moving the Sun God. I'll sell Mac Jones to anyone that will take him because that dude's going to be in
2 seconds
USFL next year. Yeah, 2 seconds
easily.
Yeah.
That's a free second.
Yes,
but wouldn't you still? I mean, he's not going to contend necessarily, but wouldn't you keep a guy like Zach Moss, given you're going to get almost nothing for him? Like,
no.
You don't have any self-respect for trying to keep your pick high. Didn't you just say that the other day, Shane? You tried to keep your points a little higher just so that his pick does not be the 101.
He doesn't own his pick. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is obviously go try to get your first back and see what it takes to do that. If we can't do that,
can we get my pick for the Sun God?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just go right to
that's what you're going to have to
offer. That's the type of player you're going to have to at least say, hey, you have to say no to this because I don't think anyone lower than that is moving the needle.
Yeah.
I try to sell Brain Rob for 2 seconds and then go from there.
Shane would go, let's see, can we give him Judy, Tank Dell, Javonte Williams, everyone for my first?
My first thought would be T-Law, because I can be replacing him anyway with the 101 if I get it back, and it's probably going to be an upgraded version of Caleb Williams anyway, or I have the 101 which I could split. But yeah, I didn't take into account that he doesn't have his own pick. So if you can't trade for your 101, you should be fighting like hell to be average. I mean, look, 105 is your goal. That is your goal. That is, you do whatever you need to. If you need to go to a neighbor's house, whoever's league is in the league with you, and turn off their electricity so they can't submit a roster, hack their phone and set a bad lineup, I don't care. You do it. You don't want to be giving up a top 4 pick. That's a hurtful feeling. So yeah, Scott, thank you for bringing that to my attention. If you can't get your 101 back, then you go fight and be the most mediocre average team you can be.
Let's do Ethan's questions real quick. I was just reading through it.
Where is it here?
Ethan, this one.
Okay. Ethan Moore. One of two. Last week I had a super chat where I was told to consolidate, and Scott called my team a fraud since I had no studs. I tried very hard to get hammers, but they were either unavailable or overpriced. What do I do when I can't consolidate and get hammers in a shallow league? I have 12 startable players to put into only 8 non-QB spots, and I have a hard time figuring out who to start. That's a good question.
Okay, well, I don't remember Ethan's question specifically. I may have called it a fraud, just depending on what kind of mood I was in. But it wasn't meant to be like negative regarding it being a fraud. It was just, it is what I saw on the screen. So here's what I would say. I understand what he's saying. It's a shallow league. He's probably, I assume, since it's a eight non-quarterbacks, it's a 10 team or a 12 team start 10, probably. Maybe if it's super flex, it's start 10. If it's 1 QB, it's start 9. So he's probably going, all right, I've tried to give 3 players for 1. I'm trying to make consolidation deals. Nobody's biting. So what you're basically saying in a nice way, you're saying you have too many players for not enough starting spots. And you probably have bad roster construction that sets you up to where you have a ton of hard decisions to make. That's essentially what I'm reading, right? The only way out of it, without going, hey, I have Chris Godwin and Drake London to try to go get AJ Brown, and nobody will accept it, because why would they? It's a start 8, right? Don't you have to go and pull? This is exactly where you go to your bench and you pull from your excess and you gamble on stuff that's either undervalued or has some future value that isn't properly defined yet. So instead of sitting there going, damn, I have 6 receivers and I'm deciding between 6 guys for 2 spots, sell 3 of them. Get a 25 first, get a 24 first. Get random picks. What is the only way you're going to be able to get elite players in a league where they won't trade them? Hit on the 101 in 2025. You got it. You got to get some picks in there. Like, that's the only way to do it. So you got to play the long game. You can't fix something like this overnight, which is, instead of just continuing to lean in and make tough decisions, sell from your excess and just start the ones that you have left over. If you're wrong, you're not going to win, but at least you have some picks in the back corner. But you got to do it that way.
Nelson, thank you very much for the generous super chat here. $50. Appreciate that. 12-team Superflex start 11 trash team. Only assets are CJ Stroud, Pollard, London, Roshan Johnson, and Charbonnet. Have 324 firsts and 225 firsts. Trade Pollard, London, and 2 mid-24 firsts for Justin Jefferson and a third. Would still have the first overall pick in 2024. So the 101. Oof, this is tough. He's got a trash team, and it's not like he's loaded with 9 firsts. Looks like he's got 2 mid and then the 101, and then 2 and 25. What do you think here? Would you give up all these pieces? 12-team Superflex start 11.
Start 11, and you're giving up London,
and you're already at poor.
Yeah, and you're already giving London and 2 firsts for Jefferson, and your team's not good.
Yeah, here's the problem. Next year, I have Stroud, Jefferson, 1 first, and the 101, and nothing else. It feels like you're immediately going to go, what can I get for Justin Jefferson? Can I
split this guy? Can I split that guy? Can I split this guy? Like, as much as fun as it would be, because it's Justin Jefferson. You just want to be like, yes, you always say yes, but no, you have to pass on this because you need the assets. Because if anything, like those 2 mid-24 firsts and the start 11, considering the rest of your team's not great, you're hoping you can even split 1 or 2 of those into multiple assets.
You should trade Pollard though. So what
Yes.
what would that look like? What should he be trying to trade Pollard for? Another pick or young wide receiver? What about Pollard, or can he get JSN in a second for Pollard? Do you think that's possible?
I like the thinking. I like the, can I get a first or a first equivalent or something that I can treat like a first next year and a second piece that can add to a deal? Because really this would be a team you'd be looking at, Clay. Every deal I make, I need to try to get a leverage piece, right? Like I want to try to get an extra third, an extra second, a throw in running back. Like I don't want to just do 1-for-1s. Like any deal where I can get, a piece plus a pick. Like give me the 80-40 deal for that Pollard, for even Roshan and Charbonnet. Like I'm willing to down tier those guys for, a second and a third, or you know what I mean? Like whatever it is, just liquidate those because they're not doing you any good on a team like this. You got some work to do, but you got to be splitting until you have enough assets.
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks again, Nelson. Appreciate that. Hopefully we helped you out. Okay, let's go on to this one. Let's hit. Tanner said a nice thing about us early in the message. We'll throw it up there. And it was at 12 noon today. Best group of guys in the dynasty space. Appreciate that. I traded Lamar Jackson for Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, and a non-playoff first. Ew. Rebuilding. Me and another guy are fighting for the 101. Thoughts?
I mean,
so
if it's
does Aaron Rodgers count more than, is he worth a 25 second?
He's your placeholder for maybe an option to be your QB3 next year. That's it. But if you're telling me this is guaranteed 101 or 102, I'm fine paying this, be giving Lamar up for this. I get Garrett Wilson in that pick. I'm okay doing that. It's a lot to give up Lamar, but if you said this was the 105 or 104, then I can say, no, I'm good. But the fact that you got Garrett Wilson and a guaranteed 101 or 102, I'm okay with that.
So he traded Lamar for Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, and a non-playoff first.
Yeah, I'm assuming the non-playoff first is the one that's fighting for 101, unless I'm reading that wrong.
Yeah, me and another guy are fighting. No, I don't see that.
His first was just a non-playoff first, and he happens to have his own first, so it's just another first. But it's
so he'll have 2 in the top 5, 6, whatever.
Like probably, yeah. So it's probably going to be Garrett Wilson and 10. Let's say
so it was the 104, 105, something like that.
So let's say that. I'm fine with that because I'm assuming that your roster is not very good, and again, you're trying to get multiple assets, and sometimes you have to be creative to doing that. Now, Garrett Wilson in a first for Lamar, is it light? Probably, but also, how many people in your league are going to be able to even scrape together an offer like that or be willing to?
Do you look at that offer more favorably knowing I have that 101 already tucked in my pocket?
I mean, I look at it more favorably knowing that it's helping me secure the 101.
Right, that's what I mean. And you already have that pick that is fighting for that spot, and you're adding another one to it versus just you're doing that deal in a vacuum without that extra incentive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey guys, I gotta move spots. I'll be right back.
We got like 3 questions left.
Yeah, but we got 3.
We'll finish it out. We got you.
No, I'll come right back.
All right.
Well, Uncle Rico says, "What's up, fellas? 12 team, start 11, superflex, tight end premium lineup. I've got Herbert, Burrow, Swift, Ramondre, Jay Cook, Brain Rob, Garrett, T, Ayuk, Thielen, Hawk. Also a young bench with a solid roster construction and good 24-25 draft capital. I am 3-3. There's a chance that I miss the playoffs. Do I trade James Cook, Thielen, and Jimmy G for Devonta and a 24 third?
Feels like a good trade, doesn't it, Shane?
Yeah, I mean
Jimmy G and Adam Thielen and actually get credit for him.
Yeah, and I like James Cook. I do, but no, to me, this is getting Devonta Smith cheap, and I understand Adam Thielen's a top 8 wide receiver, whatever he is, in scoring right now, but Jimmy G absolutely doesn't matter. Yeah, I like that deal. I would make that deal.
Yeah, now you have a third. You can actually go buy a spot starter of some sort, like go buy KJ Osborne or someone like that if you really wanted to. You don't have to, but it gives you an extra piece. Yeah, I'm smashing that deal, no
With
doubt.
being start 11, yeah, you want to buy another spot starter.
Let's see. Did I put this one up or did you?
You did.
All right. Well, we'll do JT's reaping, sowing, or is that a second parter? You starred when I starred at the same time, I think.
I didn't touch one.
You sure?
Yeah.
Shit goes off the rails when
JT reaping and sowing. 12 teams start 8, 1 QB league, overvalues running backs and have exploited that biases. 3 trades added Olave, Waddle, Zay for Swift, Spears, Jalen Reed, 3 seconds and a 24 first. Nice. Already own JJ Chase, Lamar Pitts, but now I need carries. That's half of his question. Where's his other half?
I know that was the thing.
Damn it.
Oh, let's see. Well, let's favorite.
Can we see what time that was?
No, because it's not up there. It's unstarred.
Jesus, this is good. Clay
You hit one, I hit one, we unstarred one, and then Dustin in the chat says, "Did we do his super chat?" And I don't have a Dustin super chat in there, so we're gonna have to let's do the ones we have, and then we'll I'll take a screenshot of this one so we do not miss JT's. And JT, we will make sure we get yours. And then Dustin, we'll make sure we find Dustin's. And if we don't find it by the end of the stream, then we'll do maybe we'll do a quick video answering these because we're gonna have a couple. So I'm gonna screenshot Justin. Don't forget Dustin's super chat. So we're gonna knock that one out. All right. So I saved both of those screenshots, Shane. You can ask the next one.
What Clay, you do that. I'm running through.
Everything went to hell, Clay, when you left. We double clicked 2 super chats and lost 2 of them. So
nice like that.
We're gonna have to go find them.
Oh, and it was our Dustin DeKoenig. Okay, so I'll go to this one right here from Crunch Wrapped. That's an awesome name, actually. It's got the Crunch Wrap Supreme. Sounds delicious right now. 12 team superflex, start 9, half PPR, full PPR for tight ends, no 24 picks. QBs are Purdy, Dak, Watson. Running backs, JT, Henry, Miles Canders, Jerome Ford, Javante, Charbonnet, Kendre. Wide receivers, Amon-Ra, Ayuk, Amari Cooper, Hollywood, Zay Flowers. We'll go with Zay Flowers. Tight end, Kelsey, Pitts, Kincaid, Fergie. Trade Kincaid for Aaron Jones and an early 24 third, or any trade targets. What do you think?
Half PPR, half point tight end premium. So, I mean, it matters a little bit, but doesn't it feel like you're kind of just, are you missing out a future opportunity to move Kincaid? And I was never high on Kincaid, but are you missing out a future opportunity when really we're just buying a running back here? You're getting a third back, but you doing this, Clay? If you got Kincaid and you've held him and you drafted him, are you taking this?
Yeah, with Kelsey and Pitts, yeah, I am. I mean, if I want to make a run for it, and if that's what you're doing, obviously, just trying to get Aaron Jones, see if you can make a little push here. I'm good with it. I'm not married to Kincaid at all on this trade.
You wouldn't rather try to get something different, though? You wouldn't rather try to get like just liquidate for a pick versus take Aaron Jones and then try to get, could you get 2 seconds and a third or something like that, and then just go buy production separately and not just do the deal exactly as it is?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's fine too.
Okay.
Shane, I saw you fist bumping.
He smiled, so I think he might have found the super chats.
I found Justin's, found Decon's. I'm looking for Justin. Sorry, I'm looking for JT's second part, which apparently he asked an hour and a half after the first part. So I'm still looking.
Yeah, wonder what this Crunch Wrapped record is. That's what I'm.
I'm looking at the roster. It's got
the running backs, JT and Henry, but Henry's on bye this week, right?
It doesn't have a ton of players that I'm like, man, they've just smashed.
Yeah.
JT, Miles, Henry, they haven't smashed. Dak, Watson haven't smashed.
So I'm trying to determine if a running back, if there's even a point in trying to hold on and get another running back like Aaron Jones.
Say he's 3-3, 2-4, maybe. Like this is definitely not a 6-0, 5-1 team. It's a team that's probably in the middle.
Right.
Yeah, I think I'm waiting for a better deal on that. Unless it's just sealing the deal. I mean, why do I need to buy Aaron Jones right now for Kincaid? Can I wait a week with those running backs, Henry, JT? You know what I mean? I don't need to buy him right now.
Yep. Okay, let's go to Dustin's super chat. Thank you, Shane, for finding all these. Thank you. Well, it sounds like you guys just unstarted accidentally, right?
No, that's one we never started.
Yeah, it was 3 parts. There's no way we unstarred all 3. We didn't get that click happy.
Thank you for the super chat, Dustin. 1 of 2, 10-team, start 10, super flex, half PPR, Anthony Richardson, Kyler, Russ, Tannehill, Minshew, Bijan Swift, HN, NERB on a 53, Chase, Olave, Godwin, Diojon, Dotson, KJ Osborne, and Kittle. He's got 324 firsts in all of his 25 picks. Traded 2 of my 3 firsts in 2024. One is definitely top 3. And my 25 first for A Bear, Justin Herbert, and Ridley. Got what's this last got part here?
I think it's just an an accident. Yeah.
Yep. Got Herbie, no regrets, right? Injuries are plaguing me, but still 4-2. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he paid up for Herbert in a 10-team, but he also got Ridley tacked on. So, I mean, I'm okay with doing the deal. I mean, he says it's a top 3 pick, but he didn't say like 101, so I'm okay with it. And it rounded out his QB room, you know, because now he's got Richardson, Kyler, Russ. I mean, he needed another QB, right, with the QBs that he had, but I'm liking his QB room going forward. So I think it's a good dynasty trade that also gives him a shot this year as well. Good deal.
Yeah, I like it because, I mean, what are you trying to get with a top 3 first in 2024?
A team that'll trade you Herbert, right? Right.
You're trying to get Justin Herbert.
Read my mind. Perfectly said. Yes.
Okay, let's go to JT here. Thank you for finding this, Shane. It's 1 of 2. Reaping and sowing. 12 teams start 8, 1 QB. League overvalues running back, as expected, and have exploited that bias. 3 trades, added Olave, Waddle, and Zay. Gave Swift, Spears, Jaden Reed 3 seconds and a 24 first. Already own JJ Chase, Lamar, Pitts, but now I need carries. Top guys on the roster are Connor, Gus, Foreman. Have my first and second left, but even trash cans aren't cheap. Plus 101 goes non-playoff winner. I know it sucks. Hold out, wait till deadline, keep 1 just in case.
So the first part, go back to it.
League overvalues running backs.
Yeah. So he basically built his wide receiver core by trading away all the running backs that he had, including the extra first and the seconds. So he's essentially saying he's now down to the bare bones and trying to figure out ways to get them. I mean, you've made your bed by building this way, right? Like you gave up everything. You got Chase, you got Jefferson, you got Olave, you got Waddle, you got Pitts. Like you've built around embracing this strategy. So now it's just find creative ways to essentially get value almost for free, but turn that into just, I'm taking a shot at running back. I wouldn't have necessarily recommended this in a start 8, but you've already leaned in. So unless you're willing to go now break up somebody like Waddle or Olave, or you're willing to move Jefferson, which I'm guessing that's not the direction he wants to go, I think you just got to patchwork it together. I think you got to be willing to go, you know what, I'm going to start the Jaleel McLaughlin. Like that's going to be the guy you're going to get cheap. Like it doesn't sound like you got 1 shot. He's got what, 1 first and 1 second left?
Yeah.
So he's got 2 shots. When do you want to use them? Do you want to do it now, or you want to try to survive for a little bit longer before you give those up? I really don't want to blow that first in week 7. You know, do I want to pay that first for Isaiah Pacheco in week 7, and then he goes down in week 9? I don't have anything. So I'm good. I'm waiting.
This last part, just to make sure we're keeping this into account here. So plus the 101 goes to a non-playoff winner. What is that?
I mean, I'm assuming it's like the toilet bowl.
The toilet bowl. Yeah.
Like,
So 7th place in a 12 team gets the 101.
Is there a benefit that his team doesn't win because of no running backs and then he wins the 101? I mean,
right. You have to consider that too.
For sure. For sure.
Okay. Hopefully that helped you out, JT. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for finding it, Shane. Okay. And let's go to Kevin Cruz here. Thank you for the super. 1 QB, half PPR, 12 teams, start 9. Trying to move Pacheco in a rebuild. Got 2 offers currently. Pacheco and QJ for Michael Wilson and the 2024 201. And or Pacheco for Chubb and a mid 24 third. Thanks, boys. Appreciate it.
Nah,
I
this
don't
is
like
look.
either of them.
Yeah, you know me. I'm get out all running backs at all costs, but screw you. This is that's what you would get from me. You're getting no. I'll just hold Pacheco then. You know what I mean? Like the opportunity lost is the 201 and Michael Wilson, whatever, or Chubb and a 24 third. I could care less if I don't get those things. I'll hold on to Pacheco until closer to the trade deadline when butts are tightening and the playoffs are approaching and people are like, oh, there's nowhere else to get a quarterback. I need to go to Kevin Cruz for Isaiah Pacheco. And, you know, look, obviously you run the risk of him getting injured and his value completely plummeting. But considering what you could get in place of it, I'm fine with holding.
Shane, in a 1 QB, would you give Pacheco and QJ for a future first?
I don't care about QJ. So, yes.
That's the counter then.
Yeah.
25 first. You know what I mean? Like package it and try to get something better instead of looking for these pivots. Because in that deal you're offering, that's essentially saying that Michael Wilson is worth far more than Quentin Johnston and the 201 is worth Pacheco. Like there's no motivation to make that deal.
Mm-hmm. So here's a question from Vapad in our Discord. 10-team Superflex PPR start 13. 2 points per first down. That's crazy. No tight end premium. With Diojon reportedly coming back this week, I'm looking to do some trades, moving around the flat wide receiver tier. I'm currently tanking for Caleb and want to accrue some extra thirds and such. Who are some players to target where I could send Deontay Johnson and get an equal player and pick up a third as well? Okay, so who are some names in the in that range here? Ooh, Jacoby Myers. Could you trade Deontay Johnson here in a minute for Jacoby Myers in a third? I doubt it.
No, because I don't think that actually gets you any closer to tanking.
Yeah.
I think
to tanking. Yeah, good call.
To be creative, you probably have to take a little risk here. Like, can you get Rashee Rice? Can you get Marvin Mims? Like, can you get guys where they're not killing you, but you could easily see a story where in 6 months people are like, yeah, that's at least a starting receiver.
Right.
Like, I like Deontay Johnson, but he's a lot like Marquise Brown, where once you have him, you're going to like him more than most people that
he never
don't
has
have
any
him.
resale value.
Right. So it's kind of like I'm fine. You're never going to get what you feel is worth it when he's getting 9 targets a game. So you may have to go, okay, can I get Marvin Mims in a third? And if Marvin Mims busts, then you got nothing. Like, that's the risk you're taking. You're not pivoting to another good receiver unless you just find somebody that's like, yeah, I don't like this guy and I like Deontay Johnson more, and I'll give you a third. Like, if you can find that, fine. But I don't think you're probably getting that. You're going to have to take the risk, most likely.
Mm-hmm. How about this one from Mo in the Discord? 12 team start, 10 superflex PPR. Looking to upgrade wide receiver. Would like to try and move Eckler. Have a 24 second to combine with a 25 first.
So we're trying to move Eckler. We have a 25 first and a 24 second.
Right.
Start at the top. Let him decline.
And scroll down.
Literally, I'd start at Jefferson. I'd just go down I know he's trying to compete, but I'd still take Jefferson. I'd just literally start at the top. Let him say no.
Yeah.
Then they're all going to say no.
Yes.
Would you give Eckler a 24 second and 25 first for Jefferson?
Yes.
No problem. Like,
not even a thought.
If you're not contending, just bye-bye.
I mean, if you're not contending, it's easy. But even if you are contending, the appeal of being able to get the Jefferson ad in a time where you're not wanting to kind of punt points, that's the time where you get him. And if you can figure it out, you're going to be very happy with that deal in 6 months. Like, oh my God, I traded a late first and a running back for Jefferson. You know, like that's the deal you got to make, even when you're winning. It's going to hurt.
Okay, let's do 2 quick ones here from the chat here. Corey Tom's realtor. Shane, do we trade Gibbs straight up for Puka?
Puke.
for puke. 10 teams, start 10, PPR, superflex.
Yeah, I would. I mean, look, I've been trying to trade a chain for Puka, and Gibbs is closer to playing. So if I can get Puka, and I've traded Puka or chain for Gibbs, so all of my convoluted way of saying that I would take Puka for either of those dudes. Yes.
I got my first Puka yesterday in one of the listener leagues. Scott, where are you on this one? Real quick. Gibbs for Puka for puke.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time getting over the fact that it says puke, not Puka. If you want, I'm okay with it. But if you said no, I want to wait another week on Gibbs, then fine. The thing about Gibbs versus Puka, Gibbs is going to get how many windows? He's going to get a lot of chances,
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get more chances than just a couple more games. That's
Dude.
the one thing. If you have him and there's even flashes, there's a chance that it bounces right back. That's the only reason I'm not okay moving him versus some other players. That's all.
If he goes out and flashes and has one of those Devin chain, not even a Devin chain game, but if he goes out there and goes 4 receptions for 80 yards and 5 rushing attempts for 40 yards, then
if he puts up Isaiah Pacheco's stats, people would be going crazy.
Yeah. And then we'll do this last one here from Calibus. 14 team PPR, no superflex. Diggs for a 24 and 25 first.
No superflex.
I want Diggs.
I would pay for Diggs. I would give that for Diggs.
Yeah, I mean there's a wide range of where those picks could be, and no superflex. Those could be just second rounders. So I'm okay passing unless you're telling me it's the worst team in the league that's been the 101 for 3 straight years like that.
If they're your first, then yeah, sure, go for it. Guys, we're done with the starred comments and all. We have 393 folks in here. Just wanted to say thanks and shout out to those who have been able to join us over on the Discord, the Patreon. If you want to check it out, it's patreon.com/allgas. We have our Dynasty Trades and 5 tier on there. We get live AMAs with Scott, Shane, and I guess I did one as well. Morning drive time with Shane on Monday. Saturday night live with Shane and Scott. So check us out over there. Discount on roster reviews. I'll plug that real quick too as well, because the time is now. Roster review at dynastytradesand5.com. Send an email there. We have 3 different options: peer-to-peer reviews, which are turning out great. The live ones with Shane and Scott is another option, and then a third Heisman option if you want to be pampered and have a live stream on our roster review on our live stream. So check it out, guys. Join us over on the Patreon. We got our hammers over there. Shane and Scott in there. It's an awesome community. Come join us. Support the channel.
100%. And we got the AMAs on Saturday nights. We got the Monday morning drive with Shane, which Ruben says in the chat is way too early. That's because Ruben lives on the West Coast. So, of course, it is. He shouldn't even be awake. And then we have Destination Chill. And there's going to be some more Discord content coming very soon. So if you're interested in that, check it out. I mean, I'll just say this. I'm not here to sell it, but listen to anything Ray's ever said when he's pitching the website or the Discord. Like, he literally will say, try it. If you hate it, literally message him in the Discord and say, this isn't for me. He'll give you a refund. Like, and I'm not even speaking out of turn from him. Like, I've heard him say that a dozen times. So it's like, check it out, and then we're in there. So even if we're not in there, like, talking to you at all moments, like, you can tag us, you know what I mean? We'll respond. I'll respond. Shane will respond. So yeah, just check it out. Give it a try. This is the time to do it. There's a lot of decisions being made with teams.
For sure. So if you want to, check out our combo tier, you can go to destinationdevy.com and it's a Destination 5 tier where it's a combo between Dynasty Trades and 5 and Destination Devy. All you can eat, baby. Shane, do you want to say good night to our hammers?
Good night. And someone took it down, but actually the message was hello, fellow squirters. So I'm happy. I was excited. Someone's embraced that name. Eventually, it's going to catch on, and everyone in the Discord is going to be the squirters, and it's going to make me a happy, happy person. And I appreciate everybody tuning in as always and supporting the show.
For sure. All right, guys, that is the end. We'll end the stream. Thanks.